Hello all. So in this video we will be starting our syllabus of AEC Environmental Science 1 AEC paper, okay, for Delhi University students. We had discussed the syllabus in the last class that we are having in the AEC 1 you are having 4 units in total. So in this class we are starting with the first unit, and I'll cover the unit 1 with two videos, two video lectures. So in this video lecture we'll be having 20 slides, all total around 40 slides, okay. So yes, introduction. Environment is a term derived from the French word environner, that means to surround. Not all these important points, okay. You'll be having MCQs from this chapter, and very important essay on the layers of atmosphere: troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, all those, okay. So all those comes under this unit. And yes, let's start. So the term environment, from the French word environner, which means to surround. Word meaning, the definition is the sum total of water, air and land, and the interrelationships that exist among them and with the human beings, other living organisms and materials. There is the connectedness. So there is a network, and how the network, like how the connections happen between abiotic and biotic. Abiotic matlab non-living things, and biotic, living organisms. So the connections between the harmony of living between abiotic and biotic elements, okay. So that is what gives environment, the interrelationships. With this diagram you can verify that, right? With this diagram you can get that. Humans, that is not only humans, living organisms need air, land, materials, water, and same also, conversely also. So next is environmental science as a multidisciplinary subject. Okay, so all these subjects like ethics, ecology, biology, chemistry, atmospheric science, oceanography, geology, archaeology, anthropology, sociology, history, political science, engineering, economics, all these all these disciplines are having a kind of relationship with environmental science. With this pandemic, we studied that a good healthy environment is really essential for a healthy economy, or a good great economy. So all these subjects are interrelated. It's a multidisciplinary subject, EVS, because EVS is having some or another portions or essence of uh, all the other subjects listed here. So next is about atmosphere. This is very, very important. Okay, I hope I can. Oh, sorry, I'm unable to zoom it properly. So speaking of the atmosphere, so imagine this as the Earth's surface. In the Earth's surface, there is high density and high pressure. Okay, as the altitude increase, you'll be having the oxygen molecules get decreased, nitrogen molecules gets decreased. The top, it will be low density and low pressure. So there exists an inverse relationship between altitude and density, also altitude and pressure. Now layers of atmosphere, very important. So first, niche, at the bottom we have troposphere. Okay, so almost we'll be having four or five points for each layer. But for troposphere, I haven't added one here. One is missing here. I'll be adding it now. So starting with troposphere, the average thickness is 12 kilometers. So at the equator it is having 16 kilometer, and at the poles it is having 8 kilometer. The thickness, okay. So 16 plus 8, 24, divided by 2, 12. So average thickness is 12 kilometer for troposphere. So this is the layer of atmosphere which is closest to the Earth's surface. We know that, right? Then temperature decreases with increasing altitude. Okay, so this is what we say as normal lapse rate. 6.5 degrees Celsius per kilometer. It's about average 6.5 degrees Celsius per kilometer in the lower atmosphere as the altitude is increased. Okay, that is the rate at which an atmospheric variable, normally it is temperature. So here we are speaking of temperature. So the rate at which temperature in Earth's atmosphere falls with altitude. For every 165 meter in rise altitude, the temperature decreases by 1 degree Celsius. Okay, that is in troposphere. No more complications. I'll say it in simple terms. So first feature is that layer of atmosphere. First feature is average thickness, 12 kilometer for troposphere. Equator 16 kilometer, poles 8 kilometer. Then it is layer of the atmosphere closest to Earth's surface. Now it's 2 points. The third point, temperature decreases with increasing altitude. To elaborate it, for every 165 meter rise in altitude, the temperature decreases by 1 degree Celsius. This is called as normal lapse rate. Now fourth, weather including turbulent wind, storm, most clouds occurs in troposphere. Okay, after that we are having stratosphere. It extends to 50 kilometers. The steady wind is here, but there is no turbulence. Commercial jets fly here. So the first point is extends to 50 above troposphere. Then we can say it extends to 50 kilometer. Then steady wind but no turbulence. Then commercial jets fly here. Then contains a layer of ozone that absorbs much of the sun's damaging ultraviolet radiation. The ozone layer is in stratosphere. So itself we can say as the ozone layer absorbs all the UV rays. So that layer will be having high temperature. Okay, so we can say temperature increases with increasing altitude because of the absorption of UV radiation by ozone layer heats the air. So almost we'll be having 5 points here in stratosphere. The next is mesosphere. It extends to 80 kilometers. It is directly above the stratosphere. Then temperature drops to the lowest in the atmosphere as low as minus 130 degrees Celsius. Meteors burn up from friction with air molecules in mesosphere. Then comes thermosphere. So gases, thermosphere extends to 480 kilometer. Gases in extremely thin air absorb X-rays and shortwave radiation, raising the temperature to 1000 degrees Celsius or more. Imagine 1000 degrees Celsius or more. The thermosphere is important in long distance communication because it reflects outgoing radio waves back to Earth without the use of satellites. Auroras occur here. Okay, you all know like what auroras are, right? Let me see if I can join the picture here. One second. Sorry, I don't think I can. You just Google it, okay? That's better. So, you can Google it. So next we are going to, then there is ionosphere and all, but we are here just with this 4 layers, okay? Now comes lithosphere. So these are what? The part of Earth or Earth's surface, okay? So the lithosphere is the solid outer part of Earth. Like we have atmosphere, we have lithosphere. It is the solid outer part of Earth and includes the brittle upper portion of the mantle and the crust. So it is bounded by the atmosphere above and the asthenosphere below. So if you have studied geography in your 12th or for your senior secondary, you will be knowing all these terminologies. For others it will be a little tough. So for components of environment we are having atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere and biosphere. In the last slide, we studied what atmosphere and the layers of atmosphere are. Troposphere, mesosphere, troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere. Now we are studying the layers of, now we are studying lithosphere. Okay, layers of lithosphere. So, lithosphere is the outer part of Earth. And as we see here, we are having core, then we are having mantle, okay, then the upper part, solid upper part we are having. So this is the astrosphere. It's in another part. It's the upper mantle. Core we know it as inner core and outer core. Then we are having mantle. Okay. Then we are having crust. So this picture. It will be really good if you draw it also. Not only the words. I mean, if you draw it also, it will be really good. So next we are having hydrosphere. Just have a check on how all this works. There is nothing much to describe here. You can just have an analysis on this picture and note it by yourselves. Groundwater infiltration, groundwater storage, groundwater discharge, then evaporation, condensation, it's raining, then again the precipitation, through precipitation or through the water storage in ice, snow or snow melt runoff to streams, we'll get again the surface runoff and again water storage in the oceans, again it evaporate, again it condenses in the form of precipitation, okay, again the snow melts, or like this is a continuous process we know. Next, biosphere. Okay, so what is biosphere? Bio we know life, right? So biosphere means about the life. All these things will be included. So it is a relatively thin layer of the earth's surface that supports life, reaching from a few kilometers into the atmosphere to deep sea vents. Biosphere is a global ecosystem made up of living organisms and non-living factors as well, because everything that supports life are included there. Okay. Non-living factors, like they provide them with energy and nutrients, so they support, so they are also included there. So just have a check on this, and as I said now, those are the notes, so please note, okay, when I speak of any topics, just note them down, okay. So atmosphere, biosphere, lithosphere, hydrosphere, you got these four, right? Four components of environment: atmosphere, biosphere, lithosphere, hydrosphere. If you draw all these pictures, it will be really cool. As I said, the evaluator will be having a clear cut in mind that the student really knows what these all things are, like that, okay. Next is Earth's four realms. So just not all these things, okay. It's about this biosphere, atmosphere, lithosphere and hydrosphere only. That these three, the other three, that is hydrosphere, atmosphere, lithosphere, these three and some portions of these three helps to support the life. So some portions of these three are included in biosphere. That's it. Now scope and importance. So ecology and biodiversity, environmental pollution and control, then social issues in relation to development, environment, human population, all, okay. Safe and clean drinking water, hygiene, living conditions, all these will help in protecting, conserving the mother nature and also our human body. Sustainable development. Next, we know sustainable development, that is from our in all the social sciences we are studying what sustainable development is. Development that meets the requirements of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their needs. So sustainability implies that humans can manage natural resources indefinitely without the environment going into a decline from the stresses imposed by human society on the natural systems, fertile soil, water, air, to maintain life, okay. Environmental sustainability means the ability to meet the current human need for natural resources without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their needs. This can be at individual, community, regional, national, global levels. Focus on sustainability, stabilize human population, prevent pollution where possible, restore degraded environments, use resources efficiently, eradicate hunger and poverty, prevent and reduce waste, educate all the boys and girls about all these importance of conserving nature, mother nature. Okay. Next is, many experts in the environmental problem think human society is not operating sustainably because of the following human behaviors. We are using non-renewable resources such as fossil fuels as if they were present in unlimited supplies. No, they are limited. We are using renewable resources such as fresh water and forest faster than natural systems can replenish them. So non-renewable resources, so they are limited. So we need to use them in that sense. And if about renewable resources like water and forest and all, yes, they are unlimited, but we need to give time to the nature to replenish them, to again make them. Okay, next. We are polluting the environment with toxins as if the capacity of the environment to absorb them is limitless. Then our numbers continue to grow despite Earth's finite ability to feed us, sustain us, and absorb our waste. Yes, India is the most populated country in the world. If left unchecked, these activities may reach the point of environmental catastrophe, threatening the life-supporting systems of Earth to such a degree that recovery is impossible. At first glance, the issue may seem simple. So why do we not just stop the overconsumption, population growth, and pollution? The answer is that various interacting ecological, societal, and economic factors complicate the solutions. Our inadequate understanding of how the environment works and how human choices affect the environment is a major reason that problems of environmental sustainability are difficult to resolve. Garrett Hardin was a professor of human ecology at the University of California, Santa Barbara, wrote about human environmental dilemmas. In 1968, he published his classic essay, The Tragedy of the Commons. So, our inability to solve many environmental problems is the result of a struggle between short term individual welfare and long term environmental sustainability and societal welfare. The struggle between short term individual welfare and long term environmental sustainability. Okay. Hardin used the commons to illustrate this struggle. Hardin said that one of the outcomes was private ownership of land. A second outcome Hardin considered was government ownership. In general, scholars agree that degradation of the self-governing commons, now called common pool resources, sometimes occurred in the past and is sometimes occurring today. Common pool resources, those parts of our environment available to everyone but for which no single individual has responsibility. Atmosphere and climate, fresh water, forest, wildlife and ocean fisheries. As one goes from local to regional to global common pool resources. Local means the resources are nearby, the pond near our house. Region means the river in our district. Global, forest, wildlife, ocean fisheries. The challenges of sustainably managing resources become more complex. In today's world, Hardin's parable has particular relevance at the global level. The world needs effective legal and economic policies to prevent the short-term degradation of common pool resources and ensure their long-term well-being. From unsustainable to sustainable. The natural resources which require for our existence are getting badly polluted and it is dwindling due to overexploitation. Therefore, a fear of unsustainable growth and development started in 1970s. The United Nations Conference on the Human Environment, also known as Stockholm Conference, held in Stockholm, Sweden from June 5th to 16th, 1972. It was the UN's first major conference on the international environmental issues and marked a turning point in the development of international environmental politics. The development was inclined toward more use of earth resources and continued as an economic development. The UN established a commission called the World Commission on the Environment and Development in 1983, which is frequently referred as Brundtland Commission. The commission was named on Gro Harlem Brundtland, the head of the commission and the former Prime Minister of Norway. The commission proposed former Prime Minister of Norway, okay, Gro Harlem Brundtland Commission, connect them, okay. The Commission proposed a global agenda to address the world's environmental problem and people's concerns relating to living conditions, resources, and population pressures, international trade, education, and health. The Brundtland Commission report, Our Common Future, defined sustainable development as development that meets the needs of present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. The concept of sustainable development in the Brundtland Report was the landmark for the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development in 1992, which is popularly known as the Earth Summit, held at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Following 5 significant agreements was the result of the Earth Summit. Agenda 21, Rio Declaration on Environment and Development, the Statement of Forest Principles, the United Nations Framework on Climate Change, UNFCCC, the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity, UNCBD. Okay. Out of these 5 significant agreements, Agenda 21 proposes a global program of action on sustainable development in social, economic, and political contexts for the 21st century. The definition of sustainable development can also be stated as development that meets the needs of the present while safeguarding Earth's life-supporting system on which the welfare of current and future generation depends. The concept of SD has 3 principal dimensions, 3 pillars: economic, social, and environment. Economy, that is jobs, prosperity, wealth creation, social equity, sustainable development, sustainable economy. Then environmental, natural environmental resources, local environment, sustainable development, sustainable economy. Then society, social inclusion, communities, social equity, sustainable development, local environment. That's it. Next, the key aspect of sustainable development are intergenerational equity and intragenerational equity. So intergenerational equity means stop overuse, reduce impacts, maintain ecological balance, hand over a safe, healthy and resourceful environment to our future generation. Intragenerational equity means minimize gap between and within nations, support economic growth of poorer countries, provide technological help that will support economic growth of poor countries and help in narrowing the wealth gap. Okay, the global south always asks the global north for this particular aid. Okay, so these are the connections between these 3: environmentally sound decisions, socially equitable decisions, economically viable decisions. These 3 gives sustainable development. Okay, now measures. Okay, only 2 more slides. Measures of sustainable development: using appropriate technology, locally adoptable, eco-friendly, resource-efficient, and culturally suitable technology. Indigenous technologies are most useful because they are cost-effective also and they are sustainable too. Then 3R approach to minimize waste generation: reduce, reuse, recycle. Then prompting environmental education and awareness, compulsory from school stage to aware the society toward our earth and the environment. Yes, that is why you are having this paper in your undergraduate studies, right? AEC paper for EVS. Resource utilization as per carrying capacity. Any system can sustain a limited number of organisms as long-term basis, which is known as carrying capacity. This have 2 components. One is supporting capacity, that is capacity to regenerate. Then assimilative capacity to tolerate different stresses. So as the population increase, assimilative capacity is being threat. Supporting capacity, what happened, like when even for the non-renewable sources like resources like forest, fresh water and all, when we are just exhausting them, even if they are renewable, we need to give time for the nature to replenish them, right? So that's it. In order to attain sustainability, it is very important to utilize the resources based upon the above 2 properties of system: supporting and assimilative capacity. Then Indian scenario. Emphasis on framing a well-planned strategy, tremendous population, tremendous natural diversity, hence makes planning sustainably all the more important but complex. Ministry of Environment and Forest set up in 1985 has formulated guidelines for various developmental activities, keeping in view the sustainability principles. Okay. So next is environmentalism history, a brief introduction. So we'll be taking the second part. This is the last part of unit 1, and the next video will be covering this. Okay. So thank you. Happy learning.